My name is Jennifer Benoit, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a life coach, as well as a proud advisory board member of NVEEE. So NVEEE is a bullying prevention 501c3 organization, and what makes us different is so many different things. So for one, I really love the fact that it's peer-led interventions. We host a lot of workshops where peers actually provide education to their fellow peers about how to intervene when it comes to bullying. And we also provide learning modalities across a broad spectrum. So it's not just talking to kids, but we provide videos, we provide role playing. I mean, we do all types of things to really engage our audience. We also have customizable programs for each school that we go into, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And we also offer services for grades K through 12, so it runs the gamut. Very good question. So when it comes to the bullier, I typically think that there's something that causes this child to now become a bullier. Sometimes it's aggression or violence that they're witnessing themselves, and then they take it out, not only witnessing but experiencing themselves, maybe at the hands of a parent or someone else, and so then they take that aggression out on other kids. So it's really important to pay attention to what might be happening to the bullier to cause them to lash out on other kids. A lot of times bulliers themselves have low self-esteem, but instead of targeting that problem within themselves, they're manifesting it differently. They're picking on other kids, or they're doing worse. So it's important to really get to know your child as the child being bullied as well. It's not always going to be easy for this child to talk to you as a parent. So it's really important to establish an environment that feels safe, that feels comfortable, and would allow a child to say, hey mom, this is the problem I'm experiencing. And for you to not, as a parent, react in extremities. So we have one parent who might be really laissez-faire, everybody goes through this, it's nothing. And so what you're telling your kid is essentially, it's not a big deal, you don't really care. And then you have the other parent who might go overboard and cause a child to maybe be embarrassed or feel as if you're too anxious, too involved, and they don't want to burden you and cause you to feel effects from what they're experiencing. So there's different ways to handle it depending on who your child is, but it's important that you show them that you care and that you're in control, but that you also empower them through the process as well. As a therapist, I've had experiences with a number of children who have told me that they've experienced bullying and they've actually told their parents, and the parents have done due diligence in speaking to someone at the school. However, nothing happens and the bullying might continue. So the question that I get over and over again is, what's next? And one thing I've learned through NVEEE is that there are different levels, right? So oftentimes schools have anonymous reporting for bullying. So that might be the first step. Second step might be to start to talk to faculty members face to face as a parent. If nothing happens, you can even go to the next level of maybe going to the school board. But there's levels to it, and so I wouldn't suggest that you start off with going to the school board, but make sure that someone is hearing you, someone knows that I'm not going to let this up, because it can end up to be a potentially dangerous situation. And it just so happens that Miami-Dade County, as well as Broward County, where we are actually located, have some of the best anti-bullying policies in the country. I love that question, and that doesn't start with, let's talk about bullying, right? There has to be an environment that has been established outside of this discussion that really makes a child feel safe enough to go there. It's not comfortable. It makes you feel vulnerable. It makes you feel as a child like you're weak, or that there's something wrong with you. So in order to allow a child to go there, there can't be, maybe you saying, well, everybody goes through this, or belittling the child for not taking certain measures that maybe you would have taken. It really takes empathy, an open ear. It takes you advocating for your child, but like I said, maybe not going overboard. Just making the child feel as if they have someone in their corner and that you are going to go through this together. The effects from bullying can have short-term and long-term effects for sure. And the short-term, you see things like self-mutilation, where a child might end up cutting. You might see mood changes. A child who's super jovial and happy-go-lucky might become a child who's really sad and quiet. You might see some behavioral changes in terms of being super isolated, from a child who might be around everyone all the time and be super friendly, and all of a sudden now they don't really want to talk to people. You see body image disorders. You see a lot of things that happen because it's hard for them to verbalize it sometimes. And so what happens is it comes out in other ways. And sometimes their grades drop. Oftentimes you see self-care goes down in terms of the way that they treat their bodies. And so there are a number of short-term clues and effects that happen when it comes to a child that's being bullied. Long-term, you might see, this low self-esteem that develops, and from that comes depression and even anxiety. And worst case scenario, of course, is suicide, or actually suicide attempts as well. So just to cap it all off, I would suggest that parents really pay attention. I know that sometimes it's easy to get sucked into everything going on, and we all have busy lives, but it's important to really pay attention to the clues. Notice any changes that you see going on with your child. Provide a really safe environment for them to talk about anything, not just bullying, and really take an active effort and intervening. If they should tell you that something is going on, don't stop. Go to the next level, go to the next level. Don't take no as an answer, or don't take it lightly, because you never know what can happen as a result. And stay in the game with them. Be their biggest advocates.